After Spider-Man finally got married to MJ, we see him chilling with her alongside their daughter until he mentions how it's been busy lately due to the disappearance of heroes like Daredevil and Moon Knight. Spidey would then get called to a meeting by the Avengers where Cap reveals that all the disappearances are caused by a man called Regent who owns a company that researches metahumans. However, upon realizing that there has been a prison break, Spidey calls up MJ and quickly heads to check up on her, only to find her and their daughter held by Venom. And so while he is dealing with Venom, we see the Avengers going out to fight Regent, where they quickly learn that he's been killing off heroes to ultimately absorb their powers. But by the time Spider-Man had finished dealing with Venom by straight up letting him burn to death, most of the Avengers were dead, which made Spidey decide to retire to keep his family safe. And so years later, we see Pete living in a world ruled by Regent, who hired villains to work for him to basically sweep off all heroes and work against the resistance like Sandman and Hawkeye. Peter therefore had to put inhibitor collars on himself and his daughter Annie to keep their powers deactivated and away from Regent's attention. However, later, after dropping Annie at school, her powers accidentally manifested and brought Regent's agents after her, which obviously forced Peter to cover himself and go to protect his daughter, only for him to quickly get recognized by an agent who reported his return to Regent. And so to drag Spidey out, Regent called on the Sinister Six and began doing security check-ins at all schools to catch superpowered kids. Spider-Man therefore took out his black suit and went out to protect a certain superpowered kid who the Sinister Six was gonna kidnap, but after overpowering them, he was met with Sandman, who he initially wasn't trusting to be good until Regent came and took them both to his base of operations and locked them up in pods. Hawkeye's resistance group then finally steps in as they take in MJ and Annie to go rescue Peter and fight Regent, who they were gonna lose to if it wasn't for Annie disabling his connection to the pods. And when he tried to attack her, Spidey's sense felt that, allowing him to break free and take the fight outside, where Hawkeye then gave Annie an arrow that he made using her inhibitor collar, which she ended up hitting Regent with, deactivating his powers and ultimately letting Pete live a quiet and happy life.